Imagine a fire tearing through a mountaintop monastery. Centuries of hidden knowledge, medicinal secrets, and philosophy are turning to ash in minutes. There is no cloud backup, no printing press, and no second chances to save this wisdom. The monks have exactly 3 hours to read the most vital texts and permanently burn them into their minds before fleeing into the cold night. How would you do it? Most of us read a self-help book, watch an educational video, and forget 90% of it by the time we wake up the next morning. Think about it. You spend hours feeding your brain with valuable information, only for it to leak out like water through a cracked wooden bucket. It is a total waste of your life. But today I am going to show you the exact 5 proven methods to permanently hardwire any piece of information into your brain. These are the hidden mechanics of memory used by ancient scholars and entirely backed up by modern neuroscience. Let's skip the useless fluff and get right to the edge of the blade. But before we lock in the very first method, I need to ask you something terrifying. What happens to a human brain that actually succeeds in remembering absolutely everything? Is it enlightenment or is it hell? Keep that question in the back of your mind because the answer changes everything. The first proven way to remember forever is what I call the spatial dojo. Your brain was not designed to remember text on a screen or words on a page. Evolution built your mind to remember physical locations. If an ancient hunter forgot where the poisonous berries grew or where the tiger slept, he died. We have an incredible untapped genius for spatial memory. So, if you want to memorize a complex concept, you have to map it to a physical location you already know. Picture your childhood home or the dojo you train in. Take the abstract facts you are trying to learn and turn them into bizarre, highly vivid objects. Then, mentally place those objects in specific corners of your house. When you need the information, you don't struggle to remember words. You just mentally walk through your house and look at the corners. This is the famous method of loci, used by ancient orators to memorize hours of speeches without a single note. Now, watch what happens next. The second way is called the sparring match, also known as active recall. Most people study by just rereading their notes or highlighting text. Science proves this is a massive trap called the illusion of competence. Because the information is sitting right in front of your eyes, your brain tricks you into thinking you actually know it. In 2006, psychologists Roediger and Karpicki ran a massive experiment. They had one group of students reread a passage multiple times and another group read it just once, but then immediately test themselves from memory. The group that tested themselves destroyed the rereaders in the long-term memory exams. Reading is passive, like watching a samurai swing a sword. Active recall is forcing your brain to retrieve the information. It is literally sparring. If you don't sweat and struggle to pull the answer from the depths of your mind, the memory pathways will never grow strong. But right now, I have to interrupt this. Remember the question I asked you earlier about the man who could never forget? Let me tell you about a real historical anomaly, a man studied by doctors, known only as Patient S. His real name was Solomon Shereshevsky, and he had a condition where he remembered absolutely everything he ever saw, heard, or read. You might think that is a superpower. But here is the crazy part. It completely ruined his life. He couldn't understand poetry or metaphors because his brain took every single word literally. He couldn't even recognize faces if the person's expression changed because his brain registered a smiling face as a completely different entity than a frowning face. His mind was a hoarder's trap, clogged with useless details. The reality check here is brutal. Your brain is designed to forget. Forgetting is not a flaw. It is the ultimate filter to keep you sane. The goal of learning is not to hoard everything, but to convince your brain that certain things are vital for survival. And that brings us directly to the third method, the rhythmic strike or spaced repetition. In the late 1800s, a psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered the forgetting curve. He proved that we lose nearly 70% of new information within just 24 hours. But there is a hack to shatter this curve. You have to review the information right at the exact moment you are about to forget it. Review it after 1 hour, then after 1 day, then after 1 week, then a month. Every time you recall it, right before it fades, you send a biological signal to your brain saying, "This is a matter of life and death. Keep it." The neural pathways physically thicken. It becomes permanent. Now, ask yourself this. Why do the most brilliant minds always stop working right when they are in the middle of a flow state? Why walk away when the sword is only half forged? This is the fourth proven method, the unfinished cut, driven by the Zeigarnik effect. In the 1920s, a researcher named Bluma Zeigarnik sat in a busy cafe. She noticed something bizarre about the waiters. They could remember massively complex food orders from a dozen different tables perfectly. But the exact second the customer paid the bill, the waiter instantly forgot what they had just eaten. The brain is wired to constantly loop and remember unfinished tasks. Once a task is complete, the brain dumps the file to save energy. If you want to remember something you are studying, do not finish the chapter. Stop reading right in the middle of a highly important paragraph and walk away. Your brain will agitate. It will itch. It will subconsciously review that information over and over while you wash the dishes or walk the dog. You weaponize your brain's anxiety to forge an ironclad memory. And finally, we reach the fifth and most brutal method, the bleeding ink. Let me ask you, why do you forget a mathematical formula after 10 minutes, but you perfectly remember the exact words someone said to humiliate you 10 years ago? Because memory is deeply tied to emotion. The amygdala, the part of your brain that processes extreme fear and joy, sits right next to the hippocampus, which builds your memories. If there is no emotion, the ink washes away. Ancient storytellers didn't just recite facts. They told horrific, epic, tragic tales, so the village would never forget the lesson. If you want to remember something dull, you have to attach extreme stakes to it. Imagine the consequences of forgetting this knowledge. Picture losing your job, failing your family, or facing public ruin. Inject a dose of adrenaline into the learning process. You only remember what you feel. You now know the spatial dojo, the sparring match, the rhythmic strike, the unfinished cut, and the bleeding ink. But knowing the path is not the same as walking it. If you click away right now, the forgetting curve is going to steal everything I just told you within 24 hours. I am not going to let that happen. We are going to trigger the Zeigarnik effect on you right now. I want you to go down into the comments below. Type out the exact method from this video that you are going to use today. By writing it down publicly, you force your brain into active recall and you anchor it with the emotion of a public commitment. If you don't do this, the video remains an unfinished task and you will lose the knowledge. Comment your weapon of choice. Subscribe to Forge Your Mind. Now get back to training.